Hi, hi all of you. Good afternoon, very good afternoon to you. This is Isha here from Urban Pro, and I would like to introduce myself. Okay, so this is Isha again from Urban Pro and from Bombay, born and brought up in Mumbai. And with regard to my background, okay, so I have completed my MBA in HR and admin. I worked for 13 years in corporates into HR, and in my last stint, I was with Maruti Suzuki as a manager HR. 2010 onwards, I moved into my training, completely into training. And yes, I did my train the trainer certification course from Mumbai. 2014, I shifted to Bombay, Bangalore. So currently I'm in Bangalore. And yes, that was the time I'm associated with Urban Pro when the Urban Pro was known as Think Vidya. So I have a very long relationship with Urban Pro. Okay, now the reason for being here today and talking to you about the courses and the trainings, what do I conduct? Okay, so today there are different courses which I do conduct, which help students at different levels. So those who cannot communicate well, where they are facing the grammar problem, okay, so for them, the basic course is available. For the people, those who are from corporate and who are facing some challenges when it comes to communication, writing, presentation, public speech, and all those things. So yes, this course is basically for you, that is personality development and soft skills. Then the third course, which I do conduct, it is effective public speaking, which is basically for the students, those who are, I mean, pretty old in corporates, or probably those who are conducting seminars, those who are giving some motivational trainings from their for their staff and all those things. Okay, so we are not going to cover all the sessions here. Now, here we are going to talk about the one topic which will probably give you more input to decide or to take a call whether this course is for me or not. Okay, so here we are going to talk about one topic, that is interview skills. Now, yes, how many of you have challenges or you face challenges when it comes to interview? Facing interview. So yes, I mean, whether you're a fresher, so definitely there will be butterflies in your stomach. If you're going for a higher position, definitely you are tense, nervous, or upset, thinking that whether will I be able to crack this interview or not. Okay, so there are certain points I would like to share with you which will help you to crack your interview. Okay, so let's begin. So first, as we share few topics like preparing for the interview, research the organization, so I want you to put some more focus on how to do it, right? Now, yes, let's begin one by one. Okay, so hi. So we were discussing about preparing for the interview. Now, many of you get confused like how to prepare for the interview, especially those who are fresher, right? They don't know what to do. Now, how you can prepare yourself mentally as well as getting the information. Now, how will you get all this information? The first thing is that you can always research the organization. Now, whenever you see the job advertisement, whether it is Times of India, any newspaper, job portals, or through any reference, right? So always go and check whether the company, like how the organization is, right? So research the organization. Now, when you research the organization, what you will check, okay? Now, how will you check that information? Okay, so if it is a renowned company, definitely you will get some articles in newspaper, you will get some magazines, etc., especially if it is an automobile industry or any IT industry. But yes, if there are certain small organization or maybe private limited organization, so each and every organization, they have their official website, so you can always go through their website. Now, after opening the website, what are the things you need to check? Okay, so first check how old the organization is. Yeah, check the strength of the organization. So how big that organization is, how old, how big the organization is. So when I say big, not the square feet wise big, but yes, what is the strength of the organization? Okay, then you can also check the founder members of the organization. Maybe you can go to the link, you can check their LinkedIn profile. Maybe you can check where are they from, whether they are IITians, whether they are IIM pass outs, alumni, or whoever who established this organization. Then you talk about, or then you can go through about the mission and objective of the organization. Okay, what are the products, whether the company is a product based, whether the company is the service based. Okay, check like what are your expertise and what are the qualities and expertise the organization is looking for, especially when it comes to the skill wise. So yes, most of the time they don't mention the complete information in job profile. Okay, so these are the basic things. Yes, if it is mentioned, you can check the turnover of that organization. So these are the few important things you can check before applying for the job. So this is how you can do the research and organization. Okay, now once you did all this exercise, okay, then you float your CV, then you send your resume to the organization, and one fine day you get a call from interview. Now yes, now what, as a HR point of interview, or maybe they conduct different rounds of interview, right? So the initial round of interview with the HR, so there they ask you your basic question just to check whether the candidate or applicant has that knowledge or not. Okay, if you're applying for any technical position or applying for any technical job, maybe mechanical engineer, electrical engineer, software engineer, and all those things, so they may take your some test. Now this test could be different, could be your aptitude test, maybe there could be your psychological test, or there could be your technical test. Now this test usually they check. Okay, let's say if you are applying for a for a sales and marketing job. Okay, so they may ask you to give some presentation. Okay, now this presentation, when you are giving this presentation, yeah, so you don't have to take too much time to give the presentation, but definitely you can just cover this presentation in 10 minutes. Yeah, so you can talk about any product, you can talk about, so it is based on a topic, what kind of topic you get for a presentation. So prepare for a small kind of presentation if required, and that again it depends on what position you are applying for. Now the day comes for your interview, day comes and all. Now most of the students or learners, they get like what kind of qualities the employer is looking for. Okay, so yes, now there are certain qualities they are looking for in one. See, because they don't want to hire so many people, right? So they want one, a complete package where they get all the trust, all the skills in one person. Now what are the things they are looking for? Okay, so they are looking for overall good, all around intelligence. Okay, then whether the person is committed, how whether the person is self motivated, or he's like, so you have to be a self motivated, how the enthusiasm is. Okay, then the next is good communication skills. So they want everything together, right? So they're looking for good XP, good communication skills. They want a person who is having a good vocabulary. So when I say vocabulary, not an individual vocabulary, but yes, how do you work in team? Okay, so they're looking for good team vocabulary. Okay, whether do you have skills to solve the problem? See, because every time your seniors will not be there to help you out. If you're working at certain level, it is expected, I mean, the employer expect that you should have certain skills where you can solve the problem at lower level. You should have those skills. So how to, whether the candidate or applicant has that ability to solve the problems. Then comes hard work. Okay, so there are two different types of people, right? Some they work very hard, some they hardly working, and some people they are smart workers. So you need to decide which category you fall into. Okay, but when I say hard work, so yes, I mean you're ready, whether are you flexible to work for extended hours, or maybe on holidays, or maybe on weekends if there is a work pressure and all. Okay, then the balanced personality. Now balanced personality, why it is required? So because see, all these fingers are not same, right? So when you work in a team, definitely you get people, you mix with the people, or you work with the people from different mindset, different knowledge, different expertise, different attitude, nature, behavior, their thoughts, etc. So every time it is very difficult to sync together, right? So we cannot, so all people, we cannot expect that everyone will be flexible according to my personality or my attitude or my behavior. No, please, if you have this kind of mindset, please remove that mindset. So here, the good balanced personality, so at certain level, so how calm, how you are handling the situation, okay, so without creating any arguments, without having any conflict, without hurting your colleague, your co-staff and all those things. So this is also required when it comes to balanced personality, okay. So these are the qualities what they look when you attend the interview, okay. So these are the qualities. Now, yes, now many of them get the doubt, like what kind of questions do they ask me, okay. So yes, there are certain competency based questions. So when I say competency based questions, so one is that, like depending on your skills, okay, so your skills from your earlier organization or whatever knowledge you have, okay, so these are the things. So they are expecting from through this competency based question, so how well you handle the situation. So they may ask you certain question related to that, like share any experience or any critical situation that you have handled, or share any situation where you have to take your own decision and how it went and how it happened. So everything they asked you. Now this is how they check whether all the skills, whether these skills this candidate or this applicant carry or not from his earlier experience. Okay, so there are certain competency based question. Now how to answer this competency based question, okay, so here I will give you a small tip which you can keep it in mind, like how to respond or how to answer this question. So when you get any question like this, okay, so share me any situation or any critical situation, whether or whether you have to take certain call and all, and you have finished that task and what you did and anything, okay. So for this type of question you can always give a reply. I should be a star reply. Now, what do you mean by star reply or star response? Okay. So, yes, now when it S stands for describe situation. So, S stands for situation. Now, when you get such kind of a question, okay, so your response should be a star response. Now, what is that star response? So, situation. So, S stands for situation. Now, you have to describe the situation. What was the situation? Okay, then T stands for your task. Yeah, so what was the problem, what problem you faced, okay, so that is the task you have to mention. A stands for your action. So for that particular challenge, that particular problem, that particular task, what action you took individually or with your team members. So action. R stands for your result. Now you explain situation, you explain the task, you explain the action. So after taking action, definitely there will be some result, right? So result or outcome. So what was the result? What was the outcome? So this is how you have to respond in a star way. And yes, explain what did you learn from this experience and how was your experience. Okay. So when you get this kind of question, so remember star. Okay. Now they expect, like, yes, so as I said, there are some competency based question, or there are certain uh, competency from your ex organization. Okay, now what is that they require from your ex organization? So let's say if you're a 5 years experienced person, you worked in two different organizations, so what are the competencies you gathered working in that particular time? Okay, so they expect your adaptability. So how you adopt the thing fast. See, because it's very difficult, because when we work in any organization, it becomes very difficult for us to adjust immediately. We cannot adjust with the situation, people, organization so fast. It takes approximately 1 week, 2 weeks to adjust with the people. Okay. So, but yes, during the interview, they check from what they require from your ex organization. Okay. They take your adaptability, your integrity level, your innovation, your teamwork, your initiative, how you try for the result. So, how badly you are working on to achieve something. Okay. Then what knowledge you have about a particular business. So usually, like when we don't change our industry, right? So if I see HR like flexible, so if I talk about my industry, so HR people are flexible, but when it comes to IT, finance, accounts, or maybe you can say sales and marketing, people usually they don't change their industry, right? So when you're working in a particular industry, so how much knowledge you have about the business. Okay, so let's say you're talking about sales. So who are your competitors, like how you can improve your product, well, what are the strategies will you mention to increase the sales. Okay, so all those things is require and your knowledge about the business. Like, and as we covered earlier, like whether in difficult situation are you able to take decisions or not. So this is what they check, whether this knowledge or this skills, whether you carried through your ex organization. Okay. And yes, many people they say like, okay, Isha, like can you help me out, like what kind of question usually they ask. Okay. Now usually when I say the HR interview is the first round of interview, now why this kind of interview takes place with HR people, and why not your test and your technical exams or your technical test at the first stage. Okay, now why HR round of interview first? Now yes, taking HR round of interview first, so whether the HR whoever is there in HR department, so they gauge the first screening happens there. Okay, so your scrutinization, your screening, scanning happens there, whether this person is really fitting for my job requirement or not. So when HR understand, yes, as per the knowledge whatever he shared, his experience, yes, then they put you for second round of interview. So it could be anything, your written test or technical test. Okay, now this interview is basically like the questions are your ice breaking questions. Okay, so you must have heard ice breaking. So these are ice breaking questions. Now what kind of question usually we get during the, or you can say these are the tough questions also for the freshers. So yeah, now, the first, the common question is, so tell me something about yourself. Why should we hire you? Or probably why you are switching your job, or why you want to leave this job, etc. Okay, your strength and weaknesses, right? Now, these kind of typical questions they ask during your interview. Now, let's cover one or two questions here. Okay, now how to answer those questions. Now the simple, like most of the people they say, why should we hire you? Okay, now many people or many applicants they don't understand why, what to answer for this question. Okay, now this question is really tough, like how do I know why should I, why you are going to hire me. Okay, so we don't know, sometimes we get confused. Okay, now in this case you have to go back and check the job profile or the job requirement which is mentioned in the job portal or maybe a newspaper or advertisement, wherever it is, wherever you got this reference. Okay, so go back to your job requirement. Now what are the skills they have mentioned in that? Now when they ask you why should I hire you, okay, so you have to immediately say that, okay, now these are the skills you mention in your in your requirement, I'm having this skill set which are exactly matching as per your requirement. Okay, along with that, yes, I have worked on certain project, I have worked on certain assignments, which is my additional knowledge which will help this organization, or probably I can this knowledge, yeah, so through this knowledge it will be helpful for the organization. Now this you have to prove them. It is not convincing here. You don't have to any which ways argue with the interviewer. Don't do that, never do that. Okay, don't try to convince, but make sure the way you are answering, the interviewer is getting convinced. See, there are difference between you convincing and the other person is getting convinced, right? So do that. Don't try to convince, like don't uh, show that you are the best one. No, prove them how you are the right fit. Okay, so say that. Now this is how you can answer for this question. Now the second question, I'm not going to cover all those questions, but one more question I will say here. Now most of the people, they are HR, they ask you what are your strengths and weaknesses. Now sharing the strength is very easy, correct? But yes, now make sure when you're sharing your weakness, by sharing that weakness, will it affect on my selection process, right? So think, if it is, I mean, if it is affecting your selection process, please do not mention that weakness. Okay. Now, simple tip I will give you how to share this question. Yeah. How to share or how to answer this question when you get share your strength and weaknesses. So, as I said, sharing strength is very easy. Now we'll talk about sharing weakness. Now, to be honest with you, okay, so I worked in HR background or HR field for 13 years, correct? So if you ask my expertise, my knowledge, okay, I'm taking interviews, I'm handling statutory compliances, I was handling appraisals, so any kind of appraisals. I was taking trainings for my sales team, my customer support team. I was taking care of the leave salaries and everything. Okay. But yes, being into HR, I was monitoring. Let's take a salary part. Okay. Let's take a salary part. Now, do we have a structured software where we used to put the details? Now, let's say any employee. Okay. So 30 days he worked for 26 days. Uh, 4 days he was absent, 3 days he did overtime. So all the things I used to mention in the software, and yes, I used to get the final salary or final figure of his that for that particular month of salary. Okay, now this was my job. Now if I go back to accounts department, right? So uh, checking everything, okay, or the clearing salary and all those things. So I'm not sharing here my weakness, but I'm just giving you experience. So explanation like HR. But if you ask me anything related to accounts, now after sharing from HR software to accounts department, I don't know where they are putting the information. Now let's say if they are maintaining some ERP solution for that, maybe Tally, ERP, whatever it is. So putting into accounts department that same figure or that same amount, that was my weakness, correct? So my strength is putting the information in my HR salary software, but when it goes to accounts department, what another application they are using to maintain their record, because yes, for each and every department there is a software. For HR salary, okay, once it goes to accounts, they might be having some ERP or some tally or something like that. So if you ask me, okay, Isha, you can mention salary and all those things in your software, so you must be knowing tally also. No, so that is my weakness. So now when I say, okay, I don't know how to operate tally, this is my weakness. Now I'm appearing for HR interview. Now related to accounts, it's not required, correct? So I can share that weakness which is not affecting my selection process. Getting me? So don't say, people say, yeah, my weakness is I can't speak. Okay, so if you can't speak, this job is not for you. If you're applying for sales job or maybe marketing job or a customer support job, and if you say, no, I cannot communicate well, the first no is there. Okay, so share any skills, any traits which will not affect your selection process. Okay, so these are the questions you can answer. Now, so we covered preparing for interview, how to prepare, resource the organization, test and presentation, what are the qualities employer is looking for, what are the competency based skills they are looking for your ex-employee, how you can answer this question. So we covered two questions here. So something like we covered the first question is why should we hire you, and the second question is tell me about your strength and weaknesses. Now everything happens, so most of the companies they give you an opportunity to ask certain questions. Okay, or yeah, so ask, they give you an opportunity to ask certain questions. Now when you get these questions, never ever talk about anything related to monetary. Okay, don't ask like usually when do you give how much is the increment, how much is the yearly bonus I do get, what is the percentage of increment, whether it is 25, 40%. Never ever ask those questions. Okay, when you ask those type of question, again you are, it is affecting your selection process. Okay, so ask some questions which will, interviewer will feel that okay, you are not looking at the monetary part, but you're really looking for your growth. So maybe you can ask like what are the training the organization conducts for new hire. Okay, so what are the opportunities will I get, like will I get to learn different skills, or will I get an opportunity to work in different branches if they have. Okay, so what are the additional skills that let's say if your selection happens, so what are the additional skills do I need to learn. Okay, so when you ask this type of questions, okay, so interviewer uh, thinks that yes, this person is not looking for monetary terms, but he is looking for a growth. And the last point is that do's and don'ts. Okay. So the first thing is that give smile. Yeah. That is the best tool and you're not paying anything for that. Right. The second thing is that see before you, let's say you are there, reach at least 15 minutes before the interview. So reach that premises or vicinity 15 minutes before. If you're traveling, because I'm from Mumbai, so I know if I'm traveling from one city to another city, I have to take a local train. And I hope you all know what is the situation Bombay local, right? So if it is a iron clothes, by the time you reach, it is completely crumble and wrinkle. Okay, so yes, so carry your deo or maybe some freshener or something like that. Check whether you're smelling good, your facial expressions, like this is the first part. So use the washroom and check yourself in a mirror how you're looking. Okay, so dress up properly again if you want to do that. Then comes your at a interview when you're entering. So yes, if you are a person, like if you want to give a handshake, yes, so do a firm handshake. Yes, so then this reminds me like non-verbal communication. So here in non-verbal communication we do conduct or we do talk about a certain body language, like how we need to improve that body language. Let's say if you're appearing for the interview, okay, so give the firm handshake. So in our non-verbal we talk about different handshake. Okay, so sweaty handshake, maybe the queen's handshake, or you can say a different handshake like a dead fish handshake. Okay, so these are the handshake, different handshake we covered under non-verbal communication. So here we are not going to talk much. So yes, your body language, your facial expression, your posture, gesture, your hand movements, your sitting, your leg movements, etc. each and every moment you are signaling your interviewer how you are. So just give a few example, like many people have a habit of swinging their legs. Okay, like if the person is short, yeah, their feet cannot reach to the floor or something like that. Okay, so in that situation they swing their legs. Yeah, front back, don't do that. Okay, so when you are swinging your legs, it shows that you are nervous. Okay, when you're giving a handshake, please check whether your palms are not sweaty, cold, and all. Okay, because this also again shows the nervousness. Because when we get nervous, our sympathetic nervous system gets activated and only our palm gets wet. So make sure. So if you are carrying your handkerchief or tissue, please wipe your hand, relax, take a deep breath before entering the interview room. Take a deep breath, check your palm whether it is sweaty, whether it is cold. If it is cold, rub it for some time to get that energy, and wipe it with a tissue or kerchief, and then and give handshake. Okay, so each and every body language or body movement tells what kind of mental state you are. Okay, so these are the few things about the dress. Okay, so I mentioned especially females. Okay, so check your nail paint color, check your lipstick color, check your clothes, your accessories. If you're wearing western clothes, please avoid your dangling and heavy earrings. And if you're wearing, yes, I respect everybody's culture, and although I belong from a Maharashtrian family, I know what is the value of that Mangal Sutra. Okay, but make sure if you are wearing, especially for girls, if you are wearing that Mangal Sutra and if you are wearing Western clothes, please, if you're wearing, just go for a good scarf or something like that and put a tie on your shirt or on your blazer, which will give a better formal look and you can hide your Mangal Sutra. Please, that is the, it doesn't look good. Okay, the kind of dress code you're you're wearing. Yeah, so avoid that. Avoiding, if many females, I noticed that, okay, many females during the interview they wear high heels just to show off. Please don't do that. If you're not comfortable wearing high heels, doesn't matter. If you're a tall, the candidate is very tall and top of it she's wearing high heels, don't do that. Flat is still okay, or you can go for a medium heel length or heel shoe, formal shoe or sandals. Okay, so these are the certain do's and don'ts we do cover. Okay, so I hope this course will definitely help you out. And yes, there are many more things we do cover in our respective topics. So whether it is communication, whether it is verbal, whether it is non-verbal, writing skills, we covered interview skills here, your presentation skills, etc. Other skills which I told you in the beginning, like team management, leadership skills, conflict handling, stress management, etc. So, based on a student's need, we can cover those topics. Now, this is about the course, this is about the theory part. Now, the question comes in student minds, okay, Isha, yes, I got this, but how do I improve? Right? Now, if I have to, yes, so the course duration is around 30 hours, not around about 30 hours. It is 30 hours course. Now, I won't say it is a 1 month course, because some students, they go for regular batches, some student, they go for alternate days, some student go for weekends. So that's the reason I don't mention it is a 1 month course. So I mentioned it is a 30 hours course. Now, what do we do in 30 hours? Now, whatever topic I have mentioned so far, so it takes approximately 13 to 14 hours to cover those topics. Now, related to each topic, we do the practice part. Now, what practice part we do here or we do cover during the session? So, yes, we begin with certain communication topic. So, yes, if the student opt for a group classes, so I always, being as a trainer for 13 years, okay, so I always suggest my students to go for a group classes. Now, why? Many of students, they say, Isha, like when it comes to Now everyone is working from home, right? It's been a year now. So I'm at my house working from home and I do speak in my native language. When it comes to my colleagues, when it comes to my friends, again, either I talk in my native regional language or I do speak in Hindi. So I don't get an opportunity to communicate in English. So yes, here the group classes always helps you. Second, now every person has a different skills, a different traits, different expertise, and all those things. Now, when you have a people with you in a group, so it always helps you to grow. It always gets to learn something new, right? Why? Because when we form a group, so not only, now let's say you're from accounts background or finance background, now the people could be from HR, the person could be from IT, the person could be from operations, maybe from construction, so different sales, marketing, or etc. Back end, MIS, etc. So when you get different people from different background, we get to learn different skills from different people. That's how the group helps. Now, the another question pops up in their mind. Okay, so Isha, when you say group, so when we merge a group, we make sure that there are minimum two students and maximum five students in one batch. If the sixth admission happens, I form a separate batch. Now, this batches happens as per the flexibility or as per the convenience. So trainer convenience as well as the learner convenience. Okay. Now group classes. So that is again important. Now coming back to the practice part. Now how the practice part. So when you're in a group, so we give different topics to communicate. So it could be based on a real based situation, it could be on some abstract topic, it could be some different topics, etc. Then we do a lot of question and answer round because our conversation is mostly depend on that. Either we ask question, we make statement, we give advice, we suggest something, or etc. So how to improve or how to expand my conversation. So here the question and answer always help us to improve your communication. Yes, many students say, yes, Isha, I do understand what other person is saying, but yes, my vocabulary is not so good. Okay, so here we work on different vocabulary, different in topic wise vocabulary so that student can learn different words, and to improve their vocabulary I do give certain tips how to improve the vocabulary. Yes, this is about the communication conversation practice that we do. Talking about the writing skills, so yes, when it comes to writing skills, here we do cover, apart from vocabulary, here we do cover lots of phrases, okay, which we can use it in our conversation. Now there is no thumb rule as such, right? So whatever the phrase is, we have to use in my draft only, or whenever I'm forming or whenever writing an email, I need to use those phrases. No, definitely not. But these phrases we can use it in our verbal communication also. So it could be your formal communication, it could be your social communication or informal communication. So yes, it's a win-win situation for the student because those phrases he can use it anywhere. Correct. So here we do cover different phrases. Then here we do different writing practice. So there are different ways to do that. Either I do give them topics so that student can write or draft at their convenient time, or some students say, no, 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 Isha, I will write in front of you only. So it is totally depend on student. Okay. So yes, so we do give different writing topics or subjects. So it could be anything. Okay. So write an apology email, write a reference email, write a recommendation email. So whether anything, complaint and all those things. So here we do cover a lot of writing practice. Talking about interview skills. So yes, in a topic I have mentioned certain questions usually each and every interview they ask, interviewer ask you. Okay. Apart from that, there are certain questions I have created or I have made myself. It is not only for your job, but yes, there are certain students in Visha. My next month is my appraisal, right? So how I need to face those appraisal, what kind of question do they ask? So I check with them. Okay, so what is the appraisal method in your organization? So was it is 90-degree appraisal, whether it is 180-degree appraisal, or whether it is 270-degree appraisal. Okay, so based on that, I do have a questions or list of questions related to your promotion, appraisal, performance review, whatever you call. So we do practice here. And if you're a fresher, okay, so Isha, I don't have any experience, I'm a fresher, so what kind of question will they ask me? Okay, so there is a different question set that which we do practice during interview skills. Coming back to the presentation skills, so yes, students have to present or give minimum 3 presentation during the course. Okay, so I do give them sufficient time to prepare their presentation. So the way the classes happens on a Zoom platform, so they can always share their screen, they can keep their video on, and they can give their presentation. And if the students are there or other participants are there in a group, so yes, we do cover that frequently asked questions. Okay, so this is how the entire practice part happens. Whatever course we do cover or we do conduct, the notes will be given to the student. We do share the notes. Apart from that, what are the additional topic or practice part we do cover in a session? Yes, the notes or the material is given to them. Third, each and every class it gets recorded. So even if the student finds any challenge, they can refer my notes, they can refer or go back to the audio clip, and they can always uh, go through the topic which we have covered earlier. And if they have any questions, yes, definitely I'm willing to answer those questions happily. Okay, so I hope this will help you, and hope to see you soon. Yeah. Thanks. Bye.